All right, welcome back to Lag Demon Programming. Today, I think we're going to take a look at Blender and do a little bit of modeling and set up some materials in it and take that over to Unreal Engine and see if we can make something out of it for our game. And then we'll do that periodically, making stuff. I'll also make stuff offline and incorporate them into the game, and we'll see how things go. But I thought we'd take a look at Blender and do a little simple modeling. So let's get to it. But first, I'd like to thank my generous sponsor, UV Sheltron, for their support of my channel and show you a little bit about UV Sheltron and what they do. UV Sheltron provides a solution for sanitizing surfaces without the use of chemicals. None of us like to use chemicals. They smell bad. They're potentially harmful to your skin. You don't want to handle them. You don't want to work with them. Isn't it easier to just put a lamp inside of a room, turn it on for a few minutes, and know that the surfaces are free of germs and that the environment is safe and there's nothing to dispose of and nothing to clean up and no smelly chemicals to deal with? Let's use UV Sheltron to kill those germs. All right, we're back. I hope you enjoyed that. Let's get into it and take a look at Blender. Okay, so here we are in Blender. I'm using Blender 2.93.1. So as long as you're 2.8 or later, most of the controls should be pretty familiar. This is the default scene, and what I'm going to do, well, first of all, we'll go in here and go to screencast keys and turn on those screencast keys. And there, for some reason, they don't come on until you close and reopen this. And I'm going to go here into view annotations and create a new annotations area in case I want to use it to draw some things. So I'm going to select everything by pressing A and hit X and just delete everything in the scene. So what is it that we want to make? Well, I was thinking it might be nice to have a little like well cap or a well top, and that the player will be able to get some fresh water out of. Maybe we'll make a thirst characteristic for him, and after a while he's going to get thirsty, and maybe if he tries to drink seawater, it'll make him sick, and he'll have to find this well and find the one source of fresh water on the island. That would be one of the early challenges. And if you go too long without water, you're going to maybe get sick, maybe not die. We'll think about it, maybe get so sick that you can't do much of anything until you find that water. We'll see how difficult we make it. So let's start by, I'm going to tap 7 on the numpad, and I'm going to hit Shift A, and we're going to start by adding a circle. And I'm going to leave it the default size. I'm going to tab into edit mode on it and go to 1 on the numpad. We'll zoom in here a little bit. And then I'm just going to hit E to extrude. And you notice we can kind of extrude in weird angles. I'm going to tap the Z key so it's going straight up. I'm going to pull it up a ways, maybe about so high. So that's how far we want it off the ground. And this point down here, where its center is what's going to automatically land at the ground level when we place it. So we probably want to extend it a little bit below the ground. We'll do that in a second. For the moment, I want to kind of cap it off while we're working the top here. So again, I'm going to hit extrude, but this time I'm going to right click and just release it there and touch the scale button. And I'm going to scale it in a little bit. I think about that thick ought to be good. And then I'm going to go over to 1. I'm going to hold the Z key and go into wireframe mode. And I'm going to hit extrude again in the Z axis, and I'm going to pull it down. And I think probably I want to go below ground a ways. so that if it's on uneven ground, it'll just sink down in and that'll show. Now we're going to want this part here. I'm going to double tap A to get rid of everything. I'm going to want this even with that. And so what I'm going to do is turn on snap mode here, go to vertex, and I'm going to grab this in the Z axis, and I'm going to pull my mouse down here until I'm on one of these vertices here, and now that's snapped exactly to those vertices down there. So it's exactly even. So there's our beginning of our well. But, you know, I don't want this top perfectly smooth. It's be an old well, kind of broken down a little bit, maybe weathered. So let's do this. Let's go into one. I'm going to grab two of these, actually. I'm going to go into 7. So I can grab this. No, let's just grab these 2. We'll grab those 2. I'm going to go into 1. I'm going to slide me down a little bit here. And I'm going to turn snap mode off, and I'm going to turn on this proportional editing, and I'm going to go down to random. Then I'm going to hit grab, and I get this big circle. And now as I start moving these, you see they kind of randomly move in different directions. So I'm going to pull them down a little bit like that. And we didn't affect the bottom hardly at all, it looks like. Let's zoom in on the bottom down here. Yeah, I think the bottom is still even. We didn't affect that at all. We only affected the top, which is good. So I'm going to select one of these, zoom in on it. We'll back up a little bit here, and we can rotate around. So there's our top. Let's hold the Z key and go back to solid mode. Double tap A. So now what we're going to want to do is smooth this out a little. And also, I know we want to keep relatively low geometry, and we can do that with a modifier later. But for the moment, what I'm going to do is go to my modifiers tab, and I'm going to add a subdivision surface. And I'm going to increase the viewport to 2, the renders 2. And we'll see now that it's all kind of curvy too, right? So what I want to do is I want to make this a little more straight on the edges. So I'm going to add some loop cuts. I'm going to add a loop cut by pressing Control R, click, and then I'm going to drag up really close, not so it locks into them, but really close to it there. I'm going to do the same thing on the inside, Control R, and pull this up, not let it quite snap in, but very close. And now what we're going to have is this. And so another thing we can do, I'm going to tab out of edit mode for a minute, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to hit smooth. Okay, so now it is kind of smooth, but it's a little bit, just kind of broken up on the top, and maybe I want it a little more jagged looking. So what can we do for that? Well, tab into edit mode here, and I'm going to go along. I'm going to get, let's go to 7 around here. I'm going to go to edge select, and I'm going to hit C for circle select, and I just want to select these edges all along the top here. And once they are all selected, I'm going to right click to get out of that, and I'm going to go Control E. I'm going to come down here to mark sharp. That's probably not what I wanted to do. Control E. I sometimes forget, and I'm not a super expert at this. I'm going to clear that sharp. Control E. Well, I got to reselect them again. Apparently I deselected them. I'm just going to hit everything. I'm going to go Control E, and I'm going to go clear sharp. And probably what I want to do is add, let's see if we can do it like this. Putting this really close. Yeah, it looks like what we want to do is add some loop cuts along here, at least in some places. Some places can be smooth. We don't have to do all of them. Some places can kind of be smooth and weathered. Some we want a little bit sharper. You know, maybe pick the high points. This looks like a good spot here. Let's do Control R, make that a little sharper. Control R, make that a little sharper in there. Let's tab out of edit mode and look at it. So that kind of left a seam down the side, didn't it? I don't know if I care for that. Take those out. Well, we'll leave it like this and we'll make it look a little bit weathered. We can also do some things with the sides of this. We can go Control R. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Control Z, get rid of that. Control R. Scroll up a little bit. Put a few loop cuts around it like this, and we can move some of them around a little so it's not perfectly, well, I guess down at the bottom it didn't really matter, but we're going to reduce the geometry anyway after we kind of fix this up. So what we can do with this is like pick a point like this point in the middle here, or let's go to 1 for vertex and select that one. Let's go to 1. Better yet, let's select this one here when we're in 1 mode, looking at the side. No, I'm going to select one over here on the side. And we'll go to here at random, we'll go to grab, and we'll just kind of pull them around a little bit. Maybe make this a lot bigger so it covers them all. We'll just pull them around a little bit this way. And then let's go to 3 and grab and do the same thing and kind of pull them around this way a little bit. And now let's see. Okay, so now it's a little bit lumpy. It's not perfectly smooth and straight like something that's been machined. So just using a little randomness, we can accomplish a lot. So if we take a look at this now, what I'm going to do is come in here and I'm going to go ahead and just apply this subsurface modifier and go back in and see we got a great deal of geometry in this. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply a thing here called decimate, if I can find it. I always have trouble. That's physics, deform, generate, decimate. There it is. If we set this ratio here to about, say, 0.2, and then just go ahead and apply it. We tab into edit mode now. See, we got a lot less geometry. And that's not too bad, but we keep our shape. And we got kind of weird geometry, but that's okay. What we're going to do next, though, is take this whole thing exactly as it is and unwrap it fairly simply. So let's go over here to UV editing. In this over here, let's go A, select everything, and then we're going to go to UV, Smart UV Project, and just click OK. And yeah, that looks like it'll probably be okay for our materials. So let's do a save, file, save as. Well, I had already done some experimenting and testing, but I didn't quite do it like this, but that's okay. So let's go back to layout mode. Now what I want to do is assign some materials to this. And I kind of want to assign it uh, on the sides and in this inside and outside, and have the top be a slightly different material. So what we'll do is we'll start by going into the materials tab here at new, and we'll just call this well dot base dot material format, and we'll just assign that initially to everything. And then the top of this is what I'm interested in. I'm going to go to 7, and I'm kind of going to circle select and not make it too big, and just kind of go around here on the top and try to get mostly the top. If some goes down the side a little bit, that might not be terrible, but mostly we want to just get this top and maybe the edges, and we'll just have a little bit different look of material on the very top of this than on the sides, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. So here, and then we'll kind of look at it. We might have to deselect some things if we think we see. I see we selected way too much. We got it all over here. So we'll go to circle select, make this bigger, hit shift to unselect this stuff. C, shift, unselect that. Actually, we can go to 1, undo that, hit 1, hold Z, go to wireframe, and C for circle select, shift, and unselect as much of this stuff as we can. Why isn't it unselecting that stuff? Probably because I have proportional. I don't think that would have anything to do with it. C, it's not wanting to unselect everything. C, shift. Kind of got to get up as close as we can, just high enough to get those to disappear. And I think we got rid of some of the top now. So circle select again, make this a lot smaller. Just kind of go through the middle of this right here. Oh, now we're going to be getting on the sides again, aren't we? Control Z. Go to Z. Go to solid. How can we do this? Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Maybe if we try face mode, C, make this smaller. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. Go to 7. Go to 7. Make it a little bit smaller. Move it here. C. See if doing faces we could do a little bit better job here, just right in the middle. We just want to get the top and not the sides for this material. I'll show you how we're going to do this. Okay, that looks good. We didn't get down the sides. Not entirely, a little bit inside, but that's okay. We can see, shift, and unselect just a few of these here. That's good. That looks good. So now we're going to come over here and create a new material slot, and we're going to call this new. We're going to go here. We're going to call it well.top.mat. Okay, and now I'm going to hit assign, and it assigned that material. So all the rest of it has this base material, and this has the well top material. Now, just for grins, what we will do is assign these. Let's tab back into object mode. Well base material. Let's make that kind of a dark gray. Let's go over here to where we can see the materials, and then the top of this. the well top material, we will make something like just a light gray. And now we can see how that's coming out. A little of the light gray is spilling down the sides. That's okay. Now when we apply different materials to this inside, uh, actually we might want to, we've got some weird artifacts going on there. Well, it's going to be a rough material anyway, so and they're going to be similar. It's just going to, this is going to look like the tops of blocks, and this is going to be more of the sides of blocks, is all the real difference is. So these artifacts shouldn't show up too well. We'll see, and if they do, we can come back and correct it. But there, I think we have a well. So I'm going to Control S, save that. I'm going to go to File. Oh, I'm going to select it. I'm going to go to File, Export, FBX. Now there's a few settings we have to be sure that we make here. The most important, we're not doing any animations, we'll get into that later. The most important one here is forward. We want to change this to Y forward and Z up. Or you could change it to minus Y forward, either one. I like Y forward, it works out okay, and Z up. And then down here under geometry, you want to select where it says smoothing. We want to go face, and we're not doing any animations or having an armature. So I'm going to now export this as well.fbx, and now I'm going to pause the video, fire up Unreal Engine, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here we are in Unreal Engine, and the first thing I'm going to do is go here into our Survive folder. This is where we're keeping all our assets, not the assets of the rest of the system. I'm going to create something here. I don't know, we'll call it architecture, I guess. It'll be things like buildings and all that kind of stuff. And the first thing we're going to do is our little well. So let's do a new folder we'll call well. And we'll go into that folder. And I'm going to go over here and grab that FBX file and just drag it and drop it in. Failed to revert package marked for delete. Okay. Well, that's because I need to do a sync, I think. I'm going to pause the video. Okay, just had a little source control issue there. I needed to check some things in. So I'm going to drag the well.fbx that we exported into here, and we'll get this box. We don't have any animations, so that's not going to show up. It's not a skeletal mesh, it's just a ordinary mesh. So we're just going to click Import All. And now we not only get our well, but we get our two materials that it generated. So one's a dark gray and a light gray. And we can just take our well now and drag it in to our scene and plop it down somewhere. And in the next video, we'll play here and take a look at it from a character's point of view. But in the next video, we're going to work on the materials for this and make it look like an old broken down stone well. We might throw some junk around it and make maybe like the bucket system has fallen down. So here's oh yeah, I did it. I knew I would do that. Yeah, it looks kind of weird, and the reason for that is we need to pop back into Blender. That's okay, we can just re-import it. This will be fairly quick. I'll fix this in Blender really fast. What happened here was the normals were backwards, and the way I modeled it from that circle, it didn't get the normals correct. So all we have to do is open recent, open well.blend. Here it is. We'll select it. We'll go into this mode. We'll double tap A, and we will hit not, is it Control in? No, Shift in. I sometimes forget these. Recalculate normals. So I just selected everything, hit Shift N, recalculate normals. We'll tab back out. We'll go File, Export, FBX. Again, we need to set these things so that we're Y forward or minus Y forward. I guess we'll do minus Y forward and Z up. It doesn't matter that much. As long as Z up is it. Otherwise, things will be sideways. It will not look right. We want to go to smoothing to face, and we don't have an armature, so we're good. Some of the things you might want to check out is selected objects. If you only want, we only have the one object, but you can click on selected objects if you just want to export a single object that you've selected in there. And we'll just do export FBX. We'll go File, Save. I don't think, yeah, we want to save it because of the normals flip that we did. And now we'll just right click on the well and come up here to re-import, and it's fixed just like that. And now when we go into this here and play, there's our well. Let's run over there and take a look at it. So there we got the material on the sides, we got the material on the top, and we'll make those so that they kind of blend together. If we jump up on top of here, you notice we're not falling through. I don't think we'll want him to be able to jump into the well, just for, you know, but we'll set it so he can get water out of the well. There will be a way to interact with the well. It'll look like it's got water down in it and stuff like that. It won't just be sitting in the ground like that. So there's our well. In the next video, we're going to work on the materials for the well, make it look nice, and then we're going to turn it also into a blueprint that can be interacted with, not just a mesh stuck into the scene. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, hit that like button. If you really liked it, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.